Are you guys wondering how to not pay all-time high prices? Here are a couple of ideas I have for you. Stay tuned. Hello to all my sports card investor, collector, all my collectibles friends. I hope that everybody is having an amazing Monday morning. Hope that all the female watchers that happen to be moms had a great Mother's Day yesterday. I think it's maybe like 1 or 2% of our overall viewership, so there's not many of you out there, but for those that are out there, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you had an amazing day. I've seen some recent comments that I think are important to address, talking about people that have, unfortunately bought in kind of at the height of where a sports card has landed price-wise. And so they're feeling kind of bad they got in. And it might be a card that they really do like, but unfortunately they paid at kind of the higher end of the comps when looking at kind of historical data, at least the historical data that we have access to. And so this is a video that's going to talk about maybe a couple of ways to avoid that from happening. And honestly, we've all been there. I've certainly been there. I've made some emotional buys where I did not do my research. I did not look at any eBay sold listings. And that's one thing I wanted to really kind of hit on here is, a quick way to figure out comps. One set of comps are eBay comps, and you can look at the sold listings. Unfortunately, we don't have data that's compiled that really takes into account card show sales, which is huge, especially as we get back into more and more card shows, Facebook Marketplace, Twitter, all the Instagram, all the social media marketplaces where you can buy and sell sports cards. We don't really have access to that data, compiled data, maybe little bits and pieces, but not really anything that's big. And so, the one way that we can do it for a lot of cards, not every single card, is I use Card Ladder and Market Movers data tools. And I know some people will be like, I don't need a data tool. But this is one way that a data tool can come in handy, whether it's Card Ladder or Market Movers. I use both tools because each tool does not have the same cards. There are cards in Card Ladder that are not in Market Movers and vice versa. And so it's helpful for me when I'm buying cards to be able to look beyond, that 90-day eBay sold listings, especially when you're looking at something that's a little bit more scarce. You're not necessarily going to see any sales over the last 90 days on eBay. So how do you know what a good comp is if you can't find any sort of a recent sale on eBay? And so Card Ladder is nice because it does give historical data that can go back as far as 2004. Market Movers can go back a couple of years, but in reality, even though Card Ladder does go back further, it goes back multiple years, the real truth is that the majority of cards outside of a spike that we saw in 2016 for some vintage sports cards, a lot of cards are at all-time highs now. They, over the last 12 to 15 months, have hit their all-time highs. So while Card Ladder is great to have the access to that data, and I love that. I love to be able to go back and see, okay, this card has been kind of here going back 10, 15 years, but in reality, you're looking at kind of like, a trend line that goes like this, and then once we get to 2018, all of a sudden starts making movements. So Market Movers, while it doesn't go back as far, it's really kind of touching on the main data points as far as eBay sold listings are concerned. And like I said, we're not necessarily taking into account the whole market. It's just the data tools are just giving you a subset of information, kind of a set that gives you kind of an overall view, which can be very, very helpful. Whether it's a PC buy or it's a short-term flip, nobody wants to be paying at all-time highs. Nobody does. So that's where this can come in handy. Another thing that data tools can do is give you trends. It helps you to understand kind of whether it's off-season trends or during the season trends, trying to figure out kind of where it all lies. Data tools can give you that snapshot that is needed to really kind of make a good decision, I think, in a lot of instances. And look, not every card is in these data tools, so it's not going to work for every card. It is not a marker of kind of all of the sales for a particular card. When we look at, Michael Jordan rookie cards, and this is not a great example, but all I'm saying is we don't have access to private sales where we're seeing like, oh, maybe a Michael Jordan rookie card, PSA 10 sold for $1 million in a private sale or was traded traded, for $1 million worth of cards. We just don't have that sort of access. And in reality, a data tool is never going to be able to capture that sort of all of that data. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. It's impossible for that to happen. Another angle you can take outside of data tools is really getting into the meat of the community and really getting in touch with longtime collectors and hobbyists. If you are looking for a particular card, people can be very helpful, especially the folks that have been in for a while. There are certain folks in the hobby that will certainly help you out as far as trying to find a card, or at least just trying to figure out what is a comparable value for it. Hey, I'm trying to buy a card for X. Is that a good value, or do you think I'm overpaying? And if it's a very rare, maybe we're talking about Jordan insert cards, maybe it's someone that really collects those cards and can give you kind of an idea of, I've seen those cards at this price point or that price point. I've seen private sales go for this or that, and the private sales wouldn't necessarily be listed anywhere, whether it be eBay obviously, or in any sort of a data tool. So staying and building your profile within the sports card community, especially among, hobbyists and really, the collector base, that's going to be a great way as well. If there are certain cards you're looking for, or you're looking to make trades, build rapport with these folks that have been in. There's a lot of people in the hobby that are great to work with, and they will work with you if they like you, they trust you, and all the rest of it. But there are very certain cards. There's very rare cards that they just don't come up for sale very often. You've heard stories, of different hobbyists that have been, kind of trying to buy a particular card for years and cannot get access to this card, and then finally that seller gives in and offers it for sale because they like that you've really pursued it, that you've really tried, and that you really want that card, and maybe it's a card that they can let go of at that point, and so they are able to make a deal with you. But that's really what it's all about. It's just like with anything else. If you build relationships within this hobby, it can really pay dividends in many different ways, and it just really helps to get the cards that you want to get, especially the stuff that is very scarce. So if you're coming in buying scarce stuff, or you're looking to kind of ladder up, if you will, kind of buy, sell, short-term flips to get up to larger cards, in many ways, if you're going to try to get up to larger cards, you will need to know people who know people who know people, building rapport with them to be able to get there. That's what I've learned. And not to say that I have a bunch of big cards and I've laddered up to do it, but that's what I've seen within the hobby with other hobbyists. And that's how I plan to do it, as I grow my collection. If you would like to check out the Card Ladder or Market Movers data tools, I do have affiliate links that will be in the video description. And I may also just kind of put a comment in the comment section with those links as well, just to make it easier to navigate. Check them out. All right, guys, we try to end each video on a positive note. I hope that everyone had a great weekend. And I want to kind of go back over, this is something I've talked about previously, but I want to reiterate because I think that it's important. I think just kind of, in the spirit of competition, and especially for people that are trying to start YouTube channels or grow YouTube channels, I've faced this too, where I've had friends, family that have kind of thought that, oh, this is kind of weird, or I don't really understand what you're doing, or I think it's dumb or whatever. And, the important thing is kind of how you react to how people feel. I've talked about this previously. The moment that you stop caring what the outside world thinks about what you're doing, you really are liberated. You are free, and you will make, amazing things. You will create amazing stuff. It'll make your life so much more happy. Just let go of it. And I mean that with everything. If other people's opinions are driving your life, then you're not in control of your life. And that's not really a fun place to be. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you are good enough, because you are. And you have to just keep on pressing through. If this is something that you truly believe, and you have to be brutally honest with yourself, if you are, pursuing a path that you fully believe in 1,000%, then you have to go all the way, and you have to believe in it, and you have to stay true to it. And you're going to run into obstacles. You're going to have really bad days where you feel like quitting, and but you have to, really understand the process, appreciate it. If you're having fun with the process, then that's everything. That is really everything. So maybe you have lofty goals that you're trying to reach, and maybe it's going to take a long time to get there, frankly. Here's the thing is that everyone's looking for this short-term gratification. Everyone wants it now. Everybody wants, everything to happen for them right now. But if more people just played the long game with what they're passionate about, they would be doing just great. And that's the problem that we have, is a lot of times people are getting derailed by, friends, family, parents, whatever it is that, say, hey, you need to go and do this or that or whatever. And You just got to follow what you believe to be true, listen to your gut, and if it's something that you really believe in, you got to do it. So guys, I hope that you have an amazing adventure today on your pursuit of pursuing your passion. I hope that, everybody is happy or working towards happiness. Happiness is temporary. I mean, look, happiness comes and goes. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm mad. That's all part of life. The people that are expecting to be happy all the time have extremely unrealistic expectations. I know that I'm not going to be happy all the time, so it's just all about just staying positive, staying true to yourself, and keep on pushing towards the things that you really care and love. Guys, have an amazing Monday. Stay awesome, and I will talk to you again next time.